I can hear somebody in my mind saying, well, not every school district's going to have a professional communications guy on staff to help fight back, right? Like not every group is going to have a trained political operative like yourself in order to fight back against it. What do you say to somebody like that? How do you inspire and motivate others to take action who may not have the same background and skills that you do?
Well, that's interesting because that's certainly how it started, right? Because it's all right. I know how to get stories to the right people, but it's not just me anymore. I mean, people have learned as things happen, they will start reaching out to other parents. So now you have other parents that can reach out to a publication and say, hey, I've got this FOIA doc, and I'll see a story pop up, and I'll say, well, who pitched that one? Okay, or you've got other moms that are like, can we get this parent on TV? And I would say that, for the media, having just everyday parents on television to, basically carry a message is more appealing than having someone like me on all the time. And so it really is incumbent on parents. Look at who's writing the articles on these things. It's always going to be there. You're going to be able to get their email, send them stuff. Just because you think that they work for a big publication or they're a big news organization, they'll ignore you. They won't. If you have a story, it doesn't matter who is pitching that story. And I think that's one of the things that we've been able to get to, a lot of the parents here and a lot of the parents in other counties, which is you can do this too. Figure out who's writing about this stuff, figure out who's interested in this stuff, and just email them.
Yeah. Being proactive, guys, that taking action of any kind, well, not of any kind, but just taking action is like one of the biggest hurdles to overcome. People have imposter syndrome. They don't think that they can actually make it work. They don't think anybody's going to pick up the call when they do call, but you guys have been very effective. I know my DM inbox is filled up with tweets about your guys' work, about what you're doing in different events. And I'm always happy to promote them because this is mission critical. And it's a great example for other people across the country. Guys, if you're wondering why I'm promoting all this stuff about Loudoun County, yes, it's in my own backyard. Yes, I have a particular affinity for Virginia. Yes, I'm on my way to Middleburg, which is not Loudoun, but a little bit out there. On my way through there just tomorrow. Can't wait. Going to look at wedding sites. It's going to be awesome. But this is really to be an example for other people, for other jurisdictions, for other people that want to fight back. What people are always asking me, what can I do? What can I do? And one of the main takeaways I'm getting here, and I'll let you go in a sec. One of the main takeaways I'm getting here is you just got to do something, man. You got to get out there and knock on doors. You got to show up at the board meetings. You got to make phone calls. You have to not be afraid to call a reporter and be like, I have a real story for you. What do you say, Ian?
Yeah, that's right. And usually, I mean, I frame it in these three buckets, which I think is helpful for people to think of, right? And bucket number one is you got to investigate, which means use Freedom of Information Act strategies to find out what is actually going on with your schools.
Yes.
Who are they signing contracts with? How much are they paying? What are they using for teacher trainings? I mean, teacher trainings are really where the horrible stuff is coming from.
Yep.
And then once you've found that, you've got to communicate it, and you've got to communicate it to your network, to other parents, and you've got to communicate it to the media where it's enough of a story. And it's really easy just to go through, like I said, figure out who's writing about this stuff, create a press list, go get an email system, or you can start off just using your Gmail if you need to. And when you start seeing things, send it to yourself, BCC, the 20 reporters that are interested in this. And then you're going to start getting stories, and you're going to start figuring out the process. And then the third thing is activate, right? Now, once you've shined a light on what is going on in the schools, you got to figure out what is your strategy for change. What are your tactics? What are your strategies? And, for us, the removal process was really the first tactic that we think, we've got a good shot at this, but it's not the only thing, because we can't, this is a fight that you're not just going to win one thing and say, okay, well, we won, let's all go home. No, you need to constantly be watching what is going on with your tax dollars that are educating your children.
Indeed. This is fantastic. This is what I'm looking for. My producer is going to clip that part and we're going to send that blast out all over the frickin' place. Investigate, communicate, activate. That's perfect. This is exactly right. We're running a little seminar here on how to get motivated and how to do things to fight back. And one thing that you mentioned, which is really, really important for people to remember, is that this is going to be an ongoing fight. This is something that is not going to go away. You can't just take a small victory and then go home. This is, if you remember Ricky Tikki Tavi, there's a mongoose and a cobra in a sack, and one of them is coming out. And that's where we are right now. That is where we are. And I finally realized this last summer as I'm getting shot in the throat with rubber bullets and people are smashing cops over the head with bricks, and I'm watching buildings getting burned down and stores getting looted. Old senior citizens getting harassed by mobs of young people. Like, I realized finally that we are in a life or death fight to the end. Those folks, the CRT folks, they are religious zealots and they see you as the devil. And they think that they are compelled to destroy you and everything that you've built and everything that you believe in. And if they don't, that they're failing their God of whatever it is. That's the perspective that we have to take. And they have taken decades to get to this point, guys. Decades. All of the universities, all of the media, all of entertainment, all of news. It is something that has been ongoing, long-term, structural in nature, and it is not fleeting. This is not, you're only just hearing about it now because, not you, Ian, obviously, folks, you're only just hearing about it now because it's reached critical point where it's affecting your children. I've always said that the biggest and most frequent red pill coming to America is at the dinner table. And when you're finding out about what garbage that they're putting into your children's head, that is going to activate mama bears all over the country. You're teaching my kids what? And all of a sudden, your 50-hour work week and your little league schedule and your swim team schedule and all these other things that had been taking priority got to get pushed to the side. And first priority has got to be protecting your kids. Protecting your kids. Investigate, communicate, activate. I love it. Now, there's another 8 word I'm thinking of, which is educate. To what extent do you believe the common person in Loudoun County has any idea what critical race theory is, what it looks like in practice, and what its consequences are? What percentage of the regular folks in Loudoun County actually have any concept of this?
Say 40%.
Okay, that's a lot.
We did a poll in Fairfax and Loudoun about a month ago, and we found 40% knew about it. The remaining 60, various levels, I've heard about it, not really sure about it, haven't heard about it. So there's a lot of work to do. And certainly you're starting to see the messaging change on the other side. I mean, they're kind of all over the place with their response. It's, oh, we don't teach critical race theory, or, well, critical race theory is an important way of looking at society and teaching, or you just don't want to teach accurate history. Those are kind of their 3 messages. And they're always in conflict with each other because no one seems to get on the same page as to what they want to say.
Well, it's also because it's ethereal and slippery by design. And the real goal is to take power by any means necessary. And they've just the race vector. Okay, this is an important distinction. And I'm going to catch up some crap from the far righters out there. I don't care. It is anti-white explicitly, but it is not the goal. The goal is not to be anti-white. Anti-whiteness is one of their tactics for the larger strategy of obtaining power. Okay. I don't know how we can make this point more obvious to people. And now there's going to be all kinds of arguments. Oh, Jack said it wasn't anti-white. It's anti-white by design, but not by goal. Come on. How hard is that?
So one of the big teacher training things that we saw that I think illustrates how much bigger it is than just, anti-white. It's, you've got the oppressors here and the oppressed here. And the category that really struck me was light-skinned individuals of one race are oppressors vis-a-vis dark-skinned individuals of that same race. They're just dividing everywhere they can slice people into these different identity groups so they can then all just put them back into the oppressor oppressed category. That's your big category.
Yep.
So they cut it up and they put you in these two categories.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote about this in my book, Democrat to Deplorable. I wrote it in 2016, published in 2018. This very, very concept about subdivision. I called it an ever tightening cordon. It's like eventually there's only going to be one person in the middle saying, I'm the oppressed and all of you are oppressors. The true richest irony of all of this is that by the time they get done doing whatever they're doing, the group that they're opposed to will be more diverse than the group who is saying that they're oppressed. That part is absolutely hilarious. And that's why I think in my heart that there is a positive outcome to this one day, because taken to its logical conclusion, this shit is doomed. It's just doomed. It doesn't create life. It destroys life. And those kind of systems, they fall apart. Our system creates life. Hopefully it will continue on. This is the thing that I want people to begin to understand.